Suffering comes in many different shapes and forms. There's obviously physical suffering, there's mental or emotional suffering, there's suffering due to financial struggles, due to relationship struggles, or mental health struggles. But the suffering that you can control is the suffering that we're going to be talking about today. Now, the way that I look at it, either way, you're going to suffer at some point in your life. You can choose the long-term suffering where you always take the easy way out, you take the path of least resistance. You're always just scraping by, just living paycheck to paycheck, trying to make enough to feed yourself and make rent that month. On the flip side, there's short-term suffering. Suffering that sure is not pleasant in the short term, but leads to freedom, leads to at least financial freedom, leads to you creating the life that you want to live. And, of course, the taking this path of suffering doesn't guarantee that you're not going to suffer later once you've achieved your goals and all that, but that's that's a topic for another video. The way the how I want to describe it is you a lot of people think that when they're taking the path of least resistance and they're kind of taking the shortcuts and the easy way out and just making enough to scrape by, they're scared of that initial um push that they need to take to get outside of their comfort zones. And that's really what it is getting out of your comfort zone is going to suck. It's really 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 going to suck. Um but it's a necessary step in your evolution as a person. It's a necessary pain that you have to endure to level yourself up and become the best version of yourself that you can be. Now, I've been on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to those two different types of struggles. I've stayed in my comfort zone. Done I've formed bad habits. You know, I wake and wake up every morning and just smoke myself stupid playing video games the whole day. Um, then go out to the bars and get drunk at night and just do very low frequency kind of activities every single day. And sure, when you're when you're in that mode, when you're in that cycle of just doing the bare minimum, it 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 feels good. Obviously it feels good to get high, it feels good to get drunk and all these short-term pleasures, but you wake up 5 years later realizing like shit, where did all the time go? Everyone around me is so much further ahead in life than I am, and I'm just here kind of floundering, I'm not making any progress and the more you let it fester, the more that it eats at you. It eats at your soul because deep down, your higher self knows that you can be doing so much more and you could be doing so many more things. I mean, gosh, it was I had a big wake up call in my life I when I realized, hey, I'm not a teenager anymore. I'm in my 20s. I'm a full grown adult here. And I see the people around me that chose that path for their life, and I see in them what could be me, 10, 20, 30 years down the line if I don't change my direction. And I was always waiting for the right opportunity. I was always waiting for something to just be handed to me I felt like I deserved more than what I had just for nothing. I felt like I just felt entitled to it. And I, it took me it took a lot to dig myself out of that hole and to get to where I'm at now in my life today, which I'm still, now I'm in the other suffering phase of my life, which is, number one, making up for lost time. Number two, just the grind that it takes to become successful. I'm smack dab in the middle of it. Sure, I'm seeing little fruits of my labor. I'm seeing my dividends pay off, literally and figuratively. I'm learning a lot. I'm growing a lot as a person. I'm growing a lot spiritually, and it was a long road to get here, but once you get started with that, it becomes a lot easier. Every day that you push yourself a little bit harder, you you improve your workouts just a little bit. You try to learn just a little bit more in your career. You try to just advance a little bit more. You get your money, you see your stock and investment portfolio or crypto, whatever it is, you see it grow. It's like planting a seed. And when you first plant a seed, obviously it's not very exciting. You're just planting a seed, you're watering, fertilizing it, but you're not seeing the fruits grow out yet. But once you see those little sprouts, those little sprouts are they're so exciting and they're so motivating. It makes you not want to stop because you already got started. You already got the ball rolling. And there's trust me, at first I wanted to go back to my old ways. I wanted to just go back and just get stoned and say fuck it. I'll figure it out later, but when is later? Seriously, when is later? Because I told myself I'd figure it out later at 16, and then, in my early 20s I was still telling myself I would figure it out later. So there comes a time where you realize later never comes and later has to be now because all we have is now. That's all we're ever going to have. That's all that there ever was. And it's uh, you know, sometimes I'll beat myself up and think, man, if I would have just started earlier, how much more further along I could be in my journey and this and that. But it's okay because those times are over and that's in the past now. And all that matters is that right now I'm taking the steps necessary to move forward in my life, even if that's just one step a day, even if that's just, e- you know, even if it's just showing up for work. Now, I try to, I'm at a level where I try to push myself more than that. Once I get home from work, I do my martial arts class and then I come home, I make a healthy dinner. I, work on my YouTube videos, I work on my side hustles, my businesses that I'm trying to cultivate. And a lot of them, are still in their infant stages, but when I saw those sprouts, when I saw myself, improving my skills at work, when I saw myself improving at my martial arts, it gave me that motivation to take that next step in my journey, pursue things that I've always wanted to pursue. I admit, dude, I've wanted to be a YouTuber since, I was 9, 10 years old before even being a popular YouTuber was even like a thing. I mean, sure, you had like Ray William Johnson and Smosh and like Fred and all those guys, but um and the early gaming stuff like T Series and X Jaws and White Boy 7th Street, all those guys. Yeah, but um God, sometimes I just think about where I could be now if I would have started, all the way back then, if I would have stayed consistent all the way back then, because I I do have some old videos from that time. I'm actually posting on that same channel that I made all those years ago. You can see some of my old crappy videos from back then. I leave them up because they're kind of funny and a reminder of this dream that I've had for so many years. Um, and that's just kind of what that does once you have that motivation is it gives you the confidence to want to go out there and pursue the things that you've always wanted to. And I have I'm not worried about what comes out of it, whether, this channel blows up or whether any of my, side endeavors end up working out because I have that foundation. I have that base to fall back on. And of course, I thought about all these things when I was in my rut and when I was taking my path of least resistance. But once you prove to yourself that you can do something, it it gives you the confidence to want to do so much more and to want to pursue so much more. And the suffering eventually becomes fun. It becomes enjoyment. I enjoy the suffering. I enjoy getting out of my comfort zone. I used to care so much about what people thought of me, and growing up on social media and having all these expectations, all these people, comparing yourself to others, and seeing how much better people are doing than you, and the whole social hierarchy thing. God, man, I used to just think like, fuck, like I, I'm never gonna be as good as these people. I'm never gonna be able to achieve what I want to achieve. I'm just, I'm not that guy. I wasn't built for this. I'm a loser. And when you act like a loser, or when you think you're a loser, you act like a loser. But when you think you're a winner, you start acting like a winner. And I know I haven't made it yet. Um, I'm definitely very happy and comfortable with where I'm at, and I think the thing that it taught me the most is to just not give a shit what other people think, not care at all. Of course, I'm always open to constructive criticism. I try to hang out with people that are at the levels that I want to be at one day, but I don't care. No one's going to discourage me to stop doing what I want to do because they're not paying my bills. They're not living my life for me. They're they're on their own journey, and nobody really knows what the fuck they're doing. No matter how successful they are, or how unsuccessful they are. No, nobody fucking knows what the hell we're doing in this life and in this society. We're all just trying to do the best we can, and make the best of what we have. And um I my hope for just people and myself in general is to just be the full version of yourself that you can be, and love yourself and love what you do. And it's really important to stay creative, to stay determined, even the days that you don't want to. There's so many days that I don't want to do things, but I think I put it in my mind that I have to do it. I have to do it because I'm not just doing it just to it goes back to, not I'm not doing it for other people. I'm doing it for me. Um, when my mind tells me, I don't want to do this, man. Don't after work, bro, let's just go home and watch Netflix. Let's just chill. You don't have you don't want to do this thing, man. Come on. But I'm like, no, I have to. I have to be, and that voice in my head that tells me, "Ah, come on, man, don't do it." It gets quieter and quieter and quieter when you shift that mindset from it's optional to it's mandatory. Um, and and that's really all there is to it. Is you just have to set the goals for yourself and take the little tiny steps in order to reach them. And it's about prioritizing what you truly want yourself to be in the long run. It's easy to think short term, and it's easy to just go to the nearest hit of dopamine, the nearest thing that you can cling on to that'll give you a sense of comfort. But you really have to dig deep into your soul and ask yourself, is that what you really want? Is do you just want to, is this all that life has to offer? Is this all that you want from life? And it the suffering is necessary. You hear all the cliche quotes like "no pain, no gain," all that, but it's true. It's true. You have to go through pain to grow in yourself. And gosh, I'm just so thankful for where I'm at today, and for putting those expectations on myself, to shifting my mindset, to believing that I am the person that I want to be in the future, that I already am him, that I'm already I'm already comfortable with myself, with where I'm at. And whatever that dream version of myself, whatever I see it as in my head, I already have that inside of me. It's just like losing weight. Like, you have to lose the stomach fat to see the abs poke out. You have to lose, you have to shed that extra weight to get to the physique that you want to get to. And it's the same thing, you know, in every aspect of life. So, you know, that's all I really wanted to come on here and talk about. I appreciate y'all listening. I hope you got something out of this video. You know, I always appreciate, you know, liking, commenting, subscribing, helping me chase my dreams. Um, I do plan on um, you know, diversifying my content a little more and trying out new things eventually. I'm just trying to stay consistent with these uploads right now and you know, for the few people watching me right now, I hope you're enjoying it. I'm always open to advice on what you guys would like to see from me, you know, different types of gameplay content, different types of videos. Um, but yeah, guys, as of right now, this is where I'm at and this is what I'm doing and I'm happy with it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the videos. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.